guys, today we are going to be factoring. You have actually done factoring before in Math 1, definitely a bunch in Math 2, but they put it in the curriculum for Math 3. So for some of you, this will be a really nice review, and for some of you, you get a second chance to learn how to do this. So factoring is basically multiplying binomials in reverse. Let me show you what I mean by that. So we did the box method a while back. And so let's say I wanted to multiply, we'll say x plus 3, and I'll write these down. X plus 3 times, we'll say x minus 5. So I would have x and 3 and x and minus 5. And when we multiplied these, x times x made x squared, 3 times x made 3x, negative 5 times x was negative 5x, and negative 5 times 3 was negative 15. When you combine your like terms, which the only two like terms are the 3x and the negative 5x, I would get x squared minus 2x minus 15. The minus 2x came from negative 5x plus 3. So I would get this trinomial right here. So what factoring does is it actually takes the trinomial and you have to figure out what the two factors are. So we're going to break it down going this way instead of multiplying to go this way. So let me show you how that works, and I actually use the exact same example. We already know what the answers are going to be because we started that way, but I still want to show it to you. So when you're doing x squared minus 2x minus 15, and you're trying to figure out what factors to use, I know that I'm going to have two sets of parentheses every single time, no matter what. I know that in the front of those parentheses, I need x times x, because that has to make x squared. In the back, I need something that's going to multiply to 15. Now, I think it's easier, especially when you get bigger numbers, to make a little chart and list out all the factors of 15. So now I have 1 times 15, 2 doesn't go into 15, I have 3 times 5, 4 doesn't go into anything, so these are my only factors of 15. Now, when deciding which of these to use, you want to find ones that add to this middle number. Well, 15 and 1 don't make the middle number, but 3 and 5 can. Now, 3 plus 5 doesn't because that makes 8, but you got to remember this is negative 15, so one of these has to be a negative. So if you think about it this way, negative 5 plus 3 would make negative 2. So that means my factors are negative 5 and positive 3, which we already knew because we started with those, but now you can see how to break it down. So let's do another example. And this time I won't start with the answer. Okay. Let's say you had, let me make one up real quick. X squared plus 10x plus 24. And I wanted to break this down into the factors. So my goal is to figure out, change colors, what factors created this. Now again, it's x squared in front, which means I know I had to do x times x. Those have to be there. And the two numbers in the back have to make 24. So I'm going to do this chart again. So the factors of 24, I have 1 and 24. 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, I think that's all of them. So now I need to figure out which of these is going to make 10. Well, 1 and 24, they're not going to make 10. 2 and 12 could, if I do 12 minus 2, but that would mean that one of these would have to be negative. And here I have a positive 24, which means they're either both positive or both negative. So having one positive and one negative would not work. 8 and 3 do not make 10. 4 plus 6 is 10. So I'm going to use 4 and 6. They both need to be positive in order to get a positive 10. So that's going to be a plus 4 and a plus 6. So it's not hard to break down these. It helps if you list out the factors of your number at the end here. But that's how you factor it. We'll do one more example, and then I actually want to show you another way you can do this. So, Let's see if we have a big number. Let me think for a second. Okay. Okay, let's do this one. So again, go ahead and set up my double parentheses because those are the factors. I have to have x and x because of the x squared. And I'm finding factors of 40. Now technically I'm finding factors of negative 40, so if you want to put that up there to remember, one of them has to be negative. So we'll go through factors of 40. I have 1 and 40. I have 2 and 20. And just so you know, guys, it helps if you go in order. So start with 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. Now, you may not use all of those, but it does help you to not miss any. 3 does not go into 40. 4 does. So 4 and 10, 5 and 8. 6 doesn't, 7 doesn't. And when you reach a number that's on the other side, you're done. So I reached 8. That's all the factors of 40. So I just need to figure out which pair makes 3. Remember, one of them has to be negative. 1 and 40 is not going to make 3. 20 and 2 is not going to make 3. 10 minus 4 is 6. That doesn't make 3. So 5 and 8. If 8 minus 5, so that would make that one negative. 8 minus 5 does make 3, which means my factors are the negative 5 and the positive 8. These are my factors. Now, something we have talked about, so I just want to go back and just refresh it really quick, is the difference between factors and roots. So when you're factoring, sometimes they ask you to go the extra step and find the roots. So when you're doing that, remember, I'll start with the first example. This has to be equal to 0. So when that happens, you're just setting each side equal to 0. So I have x minus 5 is going to equal 0, and x plus 3 equals 0. So if I was to solve this, I would add 5 to this side. I would get x equals 5. And subtract 3 from this side. I would get x is negative 3. So these would be your two roots. So just to keep in mind, you have factors and you have roots. So it does matter which one's which. It depends on what they're asking you for. If they ask you for factors, I'll do it on this one because that has a lot going on. This is factors. And remember, your roots always have the opposite sign. So look up here. My factor was x minus 5. My root was positive 5. This factor was positive 3. The root was negative 3. So in this example, my roots, if this is positive 4, I'm going to have x equals negative 4. And positive 6 would be x equals negative 6. So make sure you know the difference between factors and roots, so you can answer them appropriately. Something to also keep in mind is it could be called roots, it could be called solutions. These are also technically the x-intercepts. So you could see different words here. So make sure you know the difference. Factors have the numbers in parentheses, roots do not. Roots have exactly what it's equal to. So that is how you factor. When you're given a trinomial. Keep in mind that because these are x-intercepts, you could just see where this crosses the x-axis as well. So if you're not super comfortable in factoring this way, you could just look and see where it crosses the x-axis using Desmos. And that is factoring, guys.